Gentlemen and female gentlemen, welcome one and all to Warhammer 40k. We are literally so back. We are so back, guys. I've covered a lot of lore in the past. As you know, I, Lord Nuxanor, consumer of all lore, will consume every lore of everything that happened. And in the grim darkness of the future of the Nuxator channel, there is only lore. We will continue to lore dive as far as we can and go where no man has gone before. My favorite lore rabbit hole that I jumped into so far of all is the Warhammer 40k loredom. There are so many books, so many novels, so many characters, so much insane freaking shit that's been going on. I have to say, I am so excited to continue consuming all lore. So, the new Space Marine 2 video game came out with glowing reviews. Everyone seems to love it, and what's not to love? It's about butt-fucking aliens. It's the greatest genre of all time. It's not about morals and ethics. It's about genocide and heresy for the Emperor. So, I never played Space Marine 1. So this, by Crack Duck over here, is gonna give me a lore breakdown of everything I need to know in the Space Marine universe of Warhammer to see exactly what all this is about. All right, let's freaking go, baby. I'm told it's gruesome, so let's go. Doug.
Hi friends, with the new Space Marine game on the horizon, I'd figured it would be fun to go over the events of the first game, as well as some other things in order to prepare for the long-awaited sequel.
I am so ready! I am the biggest Warhammer fan any of you ever known. You guys thought you knew a thing or two about Warhammer fans? They look exactly like this guy! Like this guy! I freaking out here to purge Xenos on the daily. Yes!
But before we actually start, it should be noted that it's a bit contentious if the lore of the game is actually canon with the quote-unquote real 40k lore, since some things do contradict the actual lore.
Oh shit, I didn't even know that. I thought it fully fit inside the canon. I thought that was one of the beautiful things about Warhammer, was that it's such an ever-expansive universe, right? It's such a massive war that takes place over so many different systems. You could tell different stories that have little or nothing to do with one another, just purely by the fact that this war is so fucking big. It's one of the things I love about it, that you can literally just get lost in this shit. So, anyway, I'm super down. All right, let's see. I didn't realize there were going to be contradictions. With so many books, there are going to be contradictions here and there. So, a lot of you may not know this. There are, like, hundreds of novels, 600-page novels of stories in the 40k universe. So many different characters, so many different timelines. No, not different timelines. It's literally all in one massive universe. It's so fucking cool.
However, the game's really fun, so who really cares that much? Plus,
that is the correct mindset of a Warhammer fan. That is how you're a Warhammer fan. It's like, but the timeline doesn't line up. Fuck it, we kill Xenos here. Purge them for the Emperor.
The biggest lore crime is how weak they made the plasma pistol and bolter feel. But you know what? After 13 years, let's revisit the events of the first Space Marine game and get hyped for the sequel.
Holy shit. It's been 13 years.
The events of the game are known as the Grimskull War, and it was a massive
Yeah, so the first one, I knew about this because I saw a couple of the cutscenes. The first one is orcs, and the Space Marine 2 is against Tyranids, which is a whole other beast. Tyranids are one of the coolest existential threats in sci-fi lore, and I would know because I'm consuming all lore. But anyway, 10,000 likes, and I'm gonna do a deep dive on all the cinematic cutscenes of Space Marine 2.
Invasion of the Forge World of Graia. If you don't know, Forge Worlds are basically just entire planets dedicated to manufacturing weapons, equipment, or whatever the Imperium might need.
God, I love the orcs.
Graia is a prolific Forge World in the Segmentum Tempestus that primarily manufactured weapons. Notably, it has some Titan manufactorums.
Oh, shit.
Another notable thing about
Titans are like these 1,000-foot tall gigamech fucking animal stomping super soldiers. Like, they are a Mechanicus controlled planet, and the Titans are fucking terrifying. But anyway, the beauty of the orcs compared to the Tyranids are the orcs are out there because they like fighting and they like war and shit like that. And that's why you end up needing to face them sometimes as Space Marines, right? Space Marines want to keep humanity alive. And then you have the fucking orcs who just like fighting, which is not helpful at all. The Tyranids are a whole other threat. Like, it's a scale completely different.
Graia that I need to add before getting into the events of the game is that a little fella named Inquisitor Drogon these nuts, am I right?
Duck guy destroyed me.
Came to the world in order to work on a weapon called the psychic scourge. Okay. This handy little device was able to target specific species by tracking their warp signatures.
Bro! It's a racist laser gun! That only in Warhammer 40k can you get away with this shit. I am working on a whole ass main channel, big ass documentary on Warhammer 40k to beat the fascism allegations, okay? But I'm just saying, this is actual fucking warp species-seeking cannon, okay? This is a racism laser gun. God, and it's so based.
And then it would blast their organs like a Nacho Bel Grande. In his testing, Drogon was able to get the device to work on many xenospecies, including the orcs, Tau, Tyranids, and a few others. During the device's development, Orc Warboss Grimskull invaded Graia with the massive—
God, look at this guy covered in shit.
Orc Wah! Grimskull was after—
You wouldn't get that if you're not a hardcore Warhammer fan like I am. It's an S-tier lore. I'm telling you, it is S-tier on the lore tier list.
A large amount of weapons, Daka, that the planet produced.
So do you know why orcs call their guns Dakas? Because that's the sound they make, motherfucker! Orcs have the coolest fucking religion of all time. So one of the major power systems in Warhammer 40k is that there are these like spectral beings, right? These gods, these chaos gods. Somehow they could tap into them by believing in them. The more debauchery in the world, the chaos goddess of debauchery just keeps getting stronger. The more war keeps making Khorne, the god of bloodshed, stronger, right? So the orcs, they believe in just random bullshit. And because they believe in it, they accidentally manipulate reality itself because of their faith in bullshit. It is the coolest twist on a power system of all time. It's because it's a logical, serious universe, right? Warhammer 40k is the grim darkness of the future where there is only war. So if there is a war-based setting where everyone is on their last legs, fighting to live another day, then you have orcs that love war, complete fucking dumbasses that think that the color red makes them invincible, and then they become invincible.
One such weapon being the Titan Invictus. Upon arrival, instead of destroying the orbital defense guns and manufactorums like orcs usually do, Grimskull's boys prioritized capturing these assets, demonstrating that Grimskull was no dim skull. You see, Grimskull was smarter than the average orc with a above-average noggin in that grim skull of his.
Which makes them weaker, in my opinion. I think the strongest orcs are the ones that just blindly believe in random bullshit.
In response to Grimskull's Wah! Graia sent out—
There's a theory that the reason the Emperor still lives is because the orcs think he's alive. No shot, that's a real theory. I'm not entertaining that shit, but that sounds awesome. God, I love the orcs. Again, it's so fascinating how in this dark, depraved world of 40k, you have all these different factions and all these different ideologies that how they look at reality, and every single one of them frames it in such a different way. Like, just by the fact that the orcs are the enemy, it immediately lightens the mood. Yes, they're dangerous and bloodthirsty and they want to kill you, and you should commit insane levels of racism for the sake of the Emperor to annihilate every last orc, okay? Absolutely. But it's still kind of fun. The Tyranids suck the fun out of the fucking anus of the universe.
A distress call to Imperial forces, and since the world was so important, many answered, including the famed Ultramarines.
Woo! Blue boys!
However, the first to heed the call was the Acadian 203rd. Since the orcs had control of the orbital defense systems, only one guard unit was able to make it planetside, and they were left without reinforcements. Without support, their numbers were thin as the battle waged on. Of the casualties was a guard colonel, leaving only 2nd Lieutenant Mira to take command of the 203rd.
All right.
Luckily for the Acadians, the greatest dudes in the entire world, the Ultramarines!
Yeah! For the Emperor, brother! Pick up your bolter, brother! Flame the heretics, brother! Give me the heavy flamer!
Arrived not too long.
I love these guys so much. God, they make casual racists feel embarrassed of themselves because they are professional racists. They are so good at racism. God! Yeah, this video is going to be demonetized.
Long after. Even better, they're led by a named Ultramarine, Captain Demetrian Titus of the—
Hey, wait. So Titus, from what I understand, is the main character of the Space Marine games.
2nd Company. I bet you didn't know his first name was Demetrian, did you?
I did not.
Titus made planetfall with his homies Sergeant Sidonis and infamous wet blanket loser Leandros. Their Thunderhawk was damaged on the way down, but luckily for them, Titus played the ancient simulation, Halo 3, and he knew about Master Chief's orbital jump. He said, yeah, that was pretty—
The beauty of Warhammer is that anything that any other sci-fi crazy killer guy could do, every single Space Marine does too. There is nothing that's done anywhere that a fucking Space Marine can't fucking do. Look at this. Look at their weapon. Just look at this guy's weapon. This is a sword chainsaw. Why the fuck do you need a sword that's also a chainsaw? And for those of you that were unaware, this over here, this fucking bolter in his hand, this is a machine gun that shoots projectiles the size of torpedoes. The reason why they carry these weapons are because why the fuck not? This is the greatest fucking universe of all time.
Badass. Let's do it.
Have you noticed I'm a fan?
The three got jump packs and jumped to the surface, leading to an awesome opening scene. Lamo Leandros, of course, objected.
Boo!
Titus coincidentally...
Boo! Boo! The Codex Astartes. My asshole, the Codex Astartes. Codex Astartes. Bro, it's all about purging heretics and following the will of the Emperor. You can take that Codex Astartes and shove it up your cake-hole, Leandros.
Landed on Grimskull's personal ship, and he single-handedly took it down by turning its own AA guns on itself.
Classic. Classic Space Marine shenanigans.
Stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself. Shortly upon landing, or should I say crashing, Titus met up with Leandros, and Leandros had a little whiny bitch fit because he got a boo-boo from the little...
Oh, get out of here!
Captain Titus, the Codex Astartes reprimands blindly jumping out of an airplane with a jump pack. And for good reason, too. I got an ouchie. Why would you make me do such a thing? Leandros, we did it because it was fucking rad. You should really try growing a pair, dude.
Oh, shit.
Eventually...
He's so based. He's so real for that. God, he's so based. Oh, my lord. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Titus and Leandros rendezvous with Sidonis and discover Lieutenant Mira's remnant guard force. Due to her leadership, the few hundred guardsmen were able to hold back the millions of orcs for about 2 weeks without any reinforcements.
What the fuck? How did they do that? Okay, so for those of you that are unaware of the difference between a Royal Guard and a Space Marine, the Royal Guardsmen are just random dudes, okay? They're like me, they're like you, they're just people with little laser guns, all right? Holy shit. And that's just what makes them so inspiring. The Space Marines are these 10-foot tall fucking Hulk monsters with 3 lungs and 2 hearts, with regenerative and psychic capabilities, some of them. Like, these guys are fucking superhumans, all right? But these guys, the little guys, they're the real heroes.
After Mira explained her situation, Titus and friends went to retake the orbital defense cannon so that the reinforcements could once again aid the withering Imperials. After cutting through a swath of orcs, the blue besties retook the orbital gun, and by retake, I mean blew it to high heaven with some melted charges.
So based, so based. That's what you do. That's what you do. Why don't we capture the enemy? Capture the enemy. Fucking purge them.
This allowed some more Imperial reinforcements to make their way planetside.
Love that.
Afterwards, the Marines plan to liberate any surviving Titans before the orcs get their grubby green grippers on them. On the way there, they met a little servo skull belonging to Inquisitor Drogon. This dude never grew out of his emo face and was in desperate need of—
Yo, dude, I fucking love the So for the Inquisitors, for those of you that are unaware, Inquisitors are like these fucking super secret mega detectives that, basically have so much power in the modern political landscape of the Imperium of Man, they could basically say, all right, so I checked out this planet. I think we need to blow up this planet. And they'll be like, you know what? Okay. Innocence proves nothing. And then they'll fucking genobomb that shit.
Of help from the Marines and a talented barber. After even more fighting, the Blueberry Bunch found Drogon and learned of a powerful power source that powered the Manufactorum. Drogon informed them how urgent it was that the orcs did not get access to this. The power source is notable because it has an extreme output given its small size, proving size truly doesn't matter. The device—
Let's go! I am so happy for all my brothers and sisters out there. It never really mattered to me, but like this is a really big deal for all those watching. All of you at home. Leave a like, subscribe.
Was able to achieve these crazy—
Sisters? Why is everyone posting sisters in chat? I literally start all my videos off with gentlemen and female gentlemen, okay? Ladies and male ladies. You are all welcome here.
Easy-ass outputs because it channeled energy from the warp. So then Titus went to the manufacturer—
But to quote my favorite quote of the fucking Inquisitors, a claim of innocence is guilty of wasting my time. I fucking love these guys. Oh god, it's like the darkest fucking bullshit universe of all time, and it's so good.
Storm's generator retrieved the power source. It was here where he met Grimskull for the second time.
All right.
And just like how your brother decides he wants something only because you want it, Grimskull declared himself
Classic.
a material girl as he now wanted that power source.
See, that's the beauty of the orcs as a threat, okay? Now, I know we're not really talking about everyone else, but I assume that some of the people that are watching this video are not necessarily super deep in the Warhammer 40k lore universe yet. I'm trying to make this relatively accessible to everybody. But the point is, and this is what's so fucking awesome. The reason why the orc wants the power source is not because it's a power source. It's because you want the power source. They are petty motherfuckers, okay? They're gloriously petty bitches. Okay, that's the orcs. See, the other forces in the galaxy are not nearly as lame and petty as the orcs are. And I know, like, a lot of people have played Space Hammer 1 where the enemy was the orcs, and they kind of thought that the orcs was the main threat. But little did they know, they only saw this teeny tiny itty bitty microcosm of the vastness of 40k lore. Like, I know Moist Critical, he keeps talking about how Space Marine 2 is a great game and stuff, and he liked Space Marine 1 a lot as well, and he knows nothing about the lore. Brother, you are living in darkness! This is an S-tier lore! On the lore decks Astartes!
AKA that sparkly thing for himself.
Based.
Then, again, much like you and your brother fighting over a shiny new toy,
You kick his ass.
Grimskull ended up collapsing the entire generator room in his efforts to get the cool sparkly thing.
He didn't ever want it. He's just so annoying.
The collapse separated Captain Titty from his boys, but he successfully secured the power source. Topside, things got even more dire for the Imperials as their void blockade was broken by the Orc forces, and even more greenskins dropped planetside. Upon reuniting,
Greenskins. It's like, it's so racist. It's so unapologetically racist. Oh my god.
with the Inquisitor, Drogon explained how Titus should not have been able to handle the unshielded power source since it emanates wacko levels of warp energy, and should theoretically kill...
Okay, so warp energy is fascinating in its own right. Okay, so you know how I mentioned that the orcs are really not the main threat here? They're just kind of wandering around, liking fighting and doing random shit. The warp is basically an alternate dimension. It's a dimension of magic energy. It is it exists as a complete parallel to the material world, and in the warp you have these 4 gods of chaos, okay, that are basically running everything. Okay, there's the god of war, the god of pestilence and decay, the god of change and decision, and the god of debauchery and excess, right? These are the 4 basic chaos gods. They are so much more dangerous. It's basically hell, okay? It's interdimensional hell. And those guys are way scarier. Half of the Space Marines, and this, again, people that are going into this game not knowing exactly about the Warhammer lore and just kind of driving into this game to fuck up greenskins. Wow, that really does sound racist. But they don't recognize the idea that half of the Space Marines were corrupted by chaos. Like, that is a crazy number. Like, insane. The military might of the warp is equal to the military might of humanity, aside from all the demons and gods there. Like, to recognize why it's important that the humans go ahead and do this bullshit, why fighting for the Emperor and purging the heretics is important, because the very fate of humanity is in the balance. We're beating the fascism allegations on this one, buddy. Again, I'm working on that main channel video.
Kill anyone who handles it. Psst, this is something called foreshadowing.
Oh.
The Inquisitor also finally revealed his super secret research project to the Space Marines, as the Warp Scourge was Graia's only shot at repelling the ever-increasing Orc forces. So once again, they set off to the next level, I mean building, so that they could connect the power source to the Scourge and eliminate the Orc menace. Yes, I have a massive weapon that will blow the Orcs' minds.
Ooh! Yeah. Is it a big gun?
Yes, the Orcs love weapons. I'm sure they'll be quite impressed with such a thing. No, I mean literally blow their minds.
Yes!
Oh. Does the Codex Astartes support this
Oh, get the fuck out of
The
here!
Ultra Besties fought their way to Drogon's lab and inserted the power source into the weapons generator. But the Orcs had damaged some of the conduits, and the Marines...
They damaged the conduits. You don't even know. Did they do it on purpose, or did they just steal pipes? It is literally a flip of the coin.
...need to realign them for some more epic gameplay. Once realigned, the psychic scourge began to power up and it fired towards Graia's orbital spire.
Oh, shit.
As the scourge's beam hit the spire, Grimskull arrived in his ship. He began to attack the Marines when the shockwave from the blast hit and knocked everyone to the ground.
Oh, damn.
To Titus's dismay, the orcs' minds were in fact not blown, and they were just a bit dazed.
They made a racism gun and it didn't even work. Huge L. Huge L! God, at least be racist correctly, goddammit!
Then, as Team Titus prepared to face Gang Grimskull, a chaos portal suddenly opened and a host of bloodletters swarmed out.
Okay, so these guys are all worshippers of the demon god Khorne, the god of bloodshed and war, right? So, currently, they are the strongest force in the galaxy just because there is so much war, and the war powers up the god of war, who makes more war happen to power himself back up again. These guys are fucking nightmare fuel.
Killed the orcs and pushed Grimskull off a ledge.
Oh, Grimskull, my goat!
From the portal emerged Chaos Lord Nemeroth, and he
Alright, so to recognize, this is a space marine that got corrupted by the demons, and there are thousands of these.
was met with Inquisitor Drogon. It was then revealed that the Blue Besties were tricked, bamboozled, and some would even say hoodwinked.
No!
They learned that Nemeroth sent a demon to possess the wounded Inquisitor, and with the help of the
Classic! Classic! See, but look at what they're up against. The guys, those space marines are racists and they're genocidal maniacs. Look at what they're up against. This is a high-ranking human possessed by a demon, controlled by a demon space marine to fucking give him the power. This is what they're dealing with. So if they're not human or if they are aligned with chaos, we exterminate them for the Emperor!
unwitting space marines, Puppet Drogon recalibrated the psychic scourge. Instead of killing all the orcs as promised, the scourge was set to channel warp energies into opening a chaos portal via the orbital spire. There was a dude inside of you? Never trust the Inquisition.
No! The Inquisition is so based. How could you say that? When they say execute a planet of innocent people because one of them probably is worshipping chaos, you execute the planet of innocent people because one of them is probably worshipping chaos, okay? Praise be the Emperor.
Roth does a classic villain monologue telling Team Titus how they're a bunch of dumb stupid heads and they played right into my plan.
Oh, shut the fuck up with your plans, okay? We have righteous racism on our side.
He attempts to kill the captain and he remarks how Titus is resistant to his touch. No worries, Nemeroth. I too have found that Titus are resistant to my touch.
No! This poor guy! No! As I walk forward, the titties seem to run away.
But then, suddenly, Grimskull climbs back up from the abyss.
I'm fucking a Grimskull! He's the main character. All of you fools, you didn't understand. He was the main character all along.
He attacks the Chaos Lord. After a little tussle with the muscle, Grimskull and Nemeroth pull Acadia, and they fall.
Oh, that reference hurts so badly. Cadia is a planet that fell in a war. That fucking... Oh, that was the most tragic moment in 40k.
Off a cliff. And it should be noted that Grimskull fell down the same exact cliff he just climbed up. Like, just imagine you're Grimskull. You go to fight some Beaky, then some weird purple blast knocks you over. No big deal. Didn't even hurt. Just a little fall. You get up to kill him once more.
Kill him
then
again.
Some random-ass portal opens. Some demons kill your buddies. They jump you. They push you off like a 300-foot cliff or something. I don't know. But, okay, whatever. You're the toughest. Much. You're the baddest. You King Kong climb up the cliff like a freaking champion to get your sparkly thing. You finally get up there. Some nerd is talking to your Marine. He's about to steal your kill. So you punch him in the face, and then, just your luck, after a little scuffle, you fall down the same exact cliff.
No!
It was not his day.
I disagree. This was his day. Only an orc would have the resilience to do that shit. Oh my god, that is glorious. Now that is a villain done right. God damn. See, but the thing is, you can almost find yourself rooting for every single one of the factions in 40k because from their own perspectives, you actually get them. You actually get them. Look at this man, this absolute Giga Chad. When he dies, he will be drinking ale from curved horns with Odin, Thor, Gork, and Mork. Oh, he has a place in Valhalla yet. The commitment just for one sparkly thing. He only wanted it because other people wanted it, so therefore he wanted it. But he was so fucking committed.
So then, after a little altercation, the Marines regroup and reclaim the power source.
Dude, can you imagine the main bad guy that controlled everything all along and he was just absolutely dumpster fucked by this random orc? Like, could you imagine the insane twist? Like, all right, imagine this, okay? You're watching Naruto, okay? You're watching Naruto. Everything's going fine. Things are great. Obito summons, they all summon all these guys from the dead to fight the ninjas at the end of Naruto. Right, you got all the fucking guys revived from the dead. And then, surprise, the third Raikage that they summoned from the dead kills all the other guys and kills Obito and all that stuff. Kage comes back and gets killed by the third Raikage too. That would be the most fucking unbelievable twist of all time. It would be bullshit. But that's the orcs. That's the fucking orcs.
Team Titus decided.
See, the orcs never discovered gravity, so therefore gravity cannot hurt them.
That the only way to ward off the chaos invasion that they caused and prevent the warp portal from growing catastrophically large was to use the power source to supercharge the Titan Invictus in order to Jenga the Spire and collapse the growing warp portal.
Yes.
They reunited with Lieutenant Mira, and the Cadians and Marines made their way towards Invictus. But they got surrounded on all sides by Orc and Demon forces, so the Cadians were forced to fall back to Bastion Primus in order to regroup. Once again separated from his crew, Titus made his way to Manufactorum. On the way there, he was ambushed by Boss Grimskull, and they had an epic boss.
Let's freaking go! You cannot put my goat down! Oh, God! You could bring the goat to the pasture, but you can't force him to eat! Holy shit, Grimskull, you Wait, was I supposed to be rooting for Titus this whole time?
Boss fight. Unfortunately for the little green guy, things began to look grim for the Warboss as Titus shot him in the skull. R.I.P. Grimskull.
No! Honestly, he died doing what he loved. All of us should aim to have a life as fulfilling as Grimskull. In the arms of an angel. I'm just saying, I'll leave a like for Grimskull. God, what a legend. Doing what he loved to the very end.
You were the realest one there ever was, and you always put a grin on my skull. Does that make sense? I don't know. Whatever. Orc logic. With Grimskull dead, though, the Orc forces lost coherency and were unable to make any coordinated attacks. With the Greenskins crippled, Lieutenant Mira was able to retake the area. As always, the Marines fought their way through the hordes of enemies, got to the
Let's go!
Activated the super weapon.
Dude, the universe is so good for two completely opposite reasons. It shows you the absolute tragedy that they live in with the fear of, will humanity live to exist another day? And the simultaneous ecstasy of winning a fucking battle. How awesome is that?
Etc., etc. You know the drill by now. With the power source supercharging the Titan's volcano cannon, it was able to destroy the Spire in a single blast and close the warp gate, stranding Nemeroth and his chaos forces on Graia. Soon after the portal was severed, the rest of the Imperial Liberation Fleet made its way to Graia and deployed reinforcements. The Blood Ravens, Black Templars, Ultramarines, and Guardsmen led him.
Damn, let's go. The Blood Ravens showed up. That's a whole other faction of Space Marines. Like, this is a big deal. It's over. It's Jover for these guys. Honestly, just genobomb the planet. Who needs it?
Massive counter-assault on the remaining Chaos holdout in the Spire. Titus wanted to go a bit nuts on the Chaos forces.
See, but the funny thing is, it's never about necessarily honor and valor and like single combat. I will face him alone. No, we will face him with overpowering military might if we fucking can. We just might not be able to. Then I'll face him alone.
So he gave Sidonus the power source to bring back to the chapter.
It's a factory world that makes Titans. Yeah, you're right. It's a manufactorum. You can't just blow it up.
However, Sidonus didn't get too far.
It doesn't have like a completely useless produce there, like humans, right? If it was just like a human farm, fuck that shit. But it makes like Titans, so makes sense.
Before Nemeroth came through a portal, murdered the sergeant, and took the power source for himself.
No!
No, it should
No.
have been Leandros. Ah!
True.
With the power source, Nemeroth could ascend to demonhood and would be near unstoppable to
Okay, so there are a few steps here, okay? When a Space Marine falls into chaos, it's an ideological change. They start believing and worshiping the chaos gods instead of, serving the emperor. It starts off that way ideologically, and their mind gets more and more corrupted and warped. See what I did there? And eventually, if they manage to attain some sort of superpower, they attain to demonhood, and they become a whole other level. The actual demon Space Marines are so much more powerful than the regular chaos Space Marines. And there are a lot of them.
Imperial forces on Graia. After some monologuing, Nemeroth revealed that Titus is special in the way that he can resist Nemeroth's chaotic powers. And here I want to go on a little side tangent. Here's my little theory. A lot of people say that Titus is a blank, and that's why he's able to resist chaos. However, I think it would make a lot more sense and be a lot more interesting if he was a latent psyker. Why do I think this? Well, first.
Okay, all right. So the Psychers are basically a type of humans that have psychic powers that could resist chaos or be consumed by chaos easier. It's a double-edged sword.
Many things that go against Titus being a blink. Blinks are usually described as having no psychic presence. This means that they usually can't be affected at all by psychic powers, and they can't be corrupted by chaos. This is directly contradicted by events in the game. On multiple occasions, Nemeroth and other Psychers are able to hurt Titus or stop him with psychic powers. Additionally, Nemeroth also...
The blanks are black holes for Psychers, and obviously he's not a blank by the fact that he does interact with psychic power.
Makes multiple attempts to corrupt Titus and make him join the forces of chaos. Leandros also worries about Titus getting corrupted, but he's kind of a stupid dickhead, so we could ignore that. So, now consider latent Psyker angle. Not only would this be more interesting from a gameplay perspective, just like imagine if halfway through Space Marine 2 we could start using some low-level Psyker abilities, but it's also more consistent with what the game presents. While it is true that Psychers are usually more susceptible to chaos corruption, psychic energies can be nullified by Psychers with strong enough willpower. We know that Titus is ultra loyal and has super strong will, so that totally fits. Even if he is unknowing, it's plausible to say that he might be subconsciously doing this. Additionally,
I like that theory. I like that a lot. That makes a lot of sense.
Nemeroth directly says that Titus's resistance to him is likely due to particularly deep connections to the warp. This supports his Hiker theory while also directly contradicting the blank theory, since blanks have no connection to the warp whatsoever, and some would even say they have a negative connection. But that's just a theory, a Space Marine game theory.
Yeah!
Thanks for watching. Wait, actually, don't go. The game story is not over yet.
All right, hell yeah. No, but I think that makes sense. I guess I need to play the Space Marine game to really formulate an opinion, but I think that makes sense, and it would be really badass if in Space Marine 2 you start using Psyker powers. But anywho.
So, with Sidonus dead and Nemeroth ascending to demonhood, Titus set out to kill Nemeroth once and for all. After a little Thunderhawk ride, Titus caught the Chaos Lord as he was turning into a prince. No, not that one.
Nope,
a demon prince. Then the absolute...
Which is a whole-ass other scary piece of shit.
Mad Lad Titus fought the demon prince with just a chain sword, bolt pistol, and his can-do attitude.
Bro. Titus fought a demon prince one-on-one? No shot! Holy shit, this man's a legend!
He charged the demon prince, sending both of them flying off a cliff. Is this game Tekken or something? What is with it in its obsession with falling off cliffs? After beating the shit out of Nemeroth for like 5 minutes straight, this lunatic Titus rips the demon prince's head off with his bare hands, tears the power source apart, and probably breaks like half of his fused ribs when he lands in a Thunderhawk.
Oh my god.
In the Thunderhawk...
Bro, what an actual legend. What an actual legend. Oh my god. Bro did the whole Gandalf thing, killing him while falling. Bro. Okay, this is why Space Marines are so fucking cool. This is just a Space Marine. He's not even known as one of the strongest. He's not even one of the Primarchs or one of the generals. Like, he's just a Space Marine that's fighting for the Emperor. And look at what he's able to accomplish, right? It's inspiring in its own weird, fucked up way. And I love that so much.
Mira remarks how she now sees that Ultramarines are human after all. Which, second tangent, Mira, when exactly did it strike you that Titus was a human after all? Was it when he ripped a demon prince's head off with his bare hands?
Holy fucking shit. Wow, you're just like us, she says to the hulking, regenerating, fucking 8-foot-tall, multiple heart-beating, 3-lung breathing piece of shit that just literally ripped a demon human's head off of his shoulders. You're just like us.
Or was it maybe when he pretty much single-handedly killed an entire army? Or maybe it was when he landed from like a mile-long fall with relatively minor injuries? When was it?
I have an answer for you. And this is one of the things that makes Warhammer 40k great. Because he went up against odds that were not in his favor, and he still managed to fucking triumph with willpower alone. I think that is what what's-her-face saw, what the guardsmen saw and recognized. Because that's a lot of what 40k is about. 40k is about, like, humanity being incredibly overpowered, but humanity is not more overpowered than anyone else. Everyone is more overpowered than humans are. So the reason why she saw him and saw, like, a human, the power of humanity, is because he went up against unthinkably low odds and still pulled through. He had the power of will, defiance, fighting for his emperor. And ultimately, this is how this whole story started, with a couple of Cadian guardsmen, a couple of these guys.
Colonel.
Where are the guys? Where are them? Where are the people? These guys were here fighting for weeks, holding off an unending orc army, despite them being regular people. Despite the fact that these are just regular ass people. They fought and held off the entire orc horde. The odds were against them, and they knew that for the sake of the Emperor, they needed to put their lives on the line, and they actually succeeded in holding them off long enough for the Space Marines to show up. So, Titus, when she saw Titus do this, that's exactly what they did. He gave his life to fight when the odds were against him and succeed. That's the beauty of humanity. Humanity in 40k is about, despite going up against these insane odds, you're gonna fucking rip someone's spine out. And that's beautiful.
Relatively.
There is nothing in this rotten universe we can't overcome with spite. Quote from the guardsman.
Minor injuries? When was it? And I know she means like seeing a demigod injured shows that they're still mortal, but
I don't even think it's that. I think it's that he went up against someone bigger than him, just like she did. Because that's what humans are all about. Ultimately, the Imperium of Man in the universe right now is not the strongest. They are relatively equal to the Chaos Gods. And that's not even to mention the idea that the Eldar are flying around on their space worlds. And that the Necrons woke up from a 60 million year slumber to fucking destroy all of material life. And that the Tyranids are an out-of-galaxy threat that are coming to consume all life in the galaxy and make them part of their hive mind. Ultimately speaking, the humans have a very bleak future ahead of them. And they are doing their very fucking best.
Titus is an insane crazy man. Then, to spoil Titus's sweet victory, the Inquisition arrives with the Templars and fucking Leandros. Turns out that Leandros tattled on Titus and believes him to be warp-tainted. Titus submits to the Inquisition in order to protect Mira and her forces, and it left us with a 13-year-long cliffhanger. Again with the damn cliffs. But luckily for us, Bolt Gun and community articles have filled in some of the gaps between Space Marine and its sequel. In between the two games, Titus was tested and tortured by Inquisitor Thrax.
Yeah, so the thing is, even if you're the ultimate good guy that did ultimate good shit, if you're just a little bit infected with chaos, you become such a massive threat that it's just worth executing you. That's how scary it is. You could argue that it's not ethical to execute someone who is literally a hero for your people. But ultimately, they can become your people's undoing. Ever since the Horus Heresy, you do not take these risks.
Even though every single test proved that Titus was clean as a whistle, the torture lasted nearly a century until...
Ah! They tortured him for 100 years! Bro, Titus, my goat! Lord!
The Inquisitor was killed for being chaos corrupted.
The irony! The irony! The torturer was corrupted.
After being freed, Titus was evaluated once again, and after being deemed loyal for like the millionth time, he served in the Death Watch. On an operation, he was mortally wounded, but luckily, Chief Librarian Tigerius of the Ultramarine chapter sensed Titus's soul, once again disproving the blank theory. The librarian found Titus, rescued him, and made him into a Primaris Marine in order to save him from his injuries. Titus was finally reunited with his home chapter and given the rank of second lieutenant, just like his old guard bestie Mira.
Aww.
And with that, those were the events.
But think about how wholesome that is. Like, and think about it. This guy's a fucking mad lad. He's just a second lieutenant.
Of the Space Marine game, and everything that you need to know before playing Space Marine 2. It's a somewhat basic story, but it's really a super fun game that holds up today. My only real complaint with it would be that some of the weapons feel just like a teensy bit weaker than I feel that they should, but it makes sense from a gameplay perspective. You can't really have the default weapon be a crazy exploding one-shot machine.
Yeah, that does make sense, even though realistically, in the lore of the world, these fucking Balters are monstrously strong.
So I totally recommend trying the game out. And also, Leandros is a total loser guy. Screw Leandros.
Got him.
But that's all I've got for today. I hope you enjoyed this recap of the Space Marine game. I'm super hyped for the long-awaited sequel, and I hope it lives up to and exceeds the first. As always, please...
Hell yeah, that was a banger. I like this cracked duck guy. I'm glad you guys recommended him to me. That was a real banger. Only thing you need to know is if you didn't try to save the guardsmen through the campaign, you're a traitor. Damn. It was not Grimskull's day. Yeah, by human standards, by orc standards, he had the best day ever. Yeah, I fucking love this. This was a great video. Crack Duck, dude, you're a legend. Great video. Holy shit. I'm so glad that we do Warhammer lore and that you got me into this series. Like, it truly is one of the GOATs. So, thank y'all so much for being here. 10,000 likes, and we do we react to all the cutscenes in Space Marine 2. Thank you for being here, and remember to stay weird, fam. If you made it to the end, click one of these 2 videos, which also will definitely get me canceled. See you live on King. Stay weird, fam.